Hello, my wonderful students. How are you doing? Hope you are doing great. And I hope you are staying safe. Today, we'll be looking at the topic democratic process. And the subtopic that we're going to treat includes democracy, voting, voters registration, process of voting, importance of voting, and democratic process. And at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to define democracy, define voting, explain voters registration, analyze process of voting, list importance of voting, and itemize democratic processes. What is democracy? According to Abraham Lincoln, democracy was defined as the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. This shows that people are the center of the governance. Anything that they want to do, it revolves around the people. People are the one participating in governance, and they are also the one that are going to be ruled. So that's why we said the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And when we are talking about democracy, it is when the people. All right, let's continue from where we stopped. Democracy, like I said, is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That was according to Abraham Lincoln. And I said that when the people of the country decided to choose their representative, can as well be said to be democracy. Democracy is centered about people. People are the one participating in governance, and at the same time, they are the ones to be ruled. And there is one major thing about democracy. It is being ruled according to the rules of the Constitution. It is not the obey the last rule order. It is not an autocratic way of doing things. And that is democracy. Let's move to the next one, excuse me, which is voting. Voting is when the electorate puts their choice of candidates among so many other alternatives into the position of leadership. That is voting. When people go out to go and cast their votes, to go and make their choice known, it is called voting. And it can be done in the public or in the private. And a voter is somebody that is eligible to vote, that is eligible to register and qualified as a citizen of the country. It's not everybody that can be called voter, most especially people from age 0 to age 17. But once you attain age 18 and above, then you are an eligible voter. You can register and you are qualified to register. Let's look at the voters registration. The voters registration is the putting down the information about a voter organized by the INEC. The voter registration is only authorized by the electoral body called INEC, and it comprises of some information, which includes number one, the name of the voter. The name of the voter has to do with the surname and the other names. The surname is the first name, while the other names are the second or third names that the voter or the electorate bears. Take for instance, Adegun Taiwo Johnson. Adegun is the surname, Taiwo is the other name with Johnson. Now, the next information is about the date of birth. This is the date of birth of the voter. Why? Which includes the actual day the voter was given birth to and the year. that he or she was given birth to. Another information is occupation, the work the voter is doing to earn a living is called occupation. The next one is address. Address has to do with the location of the residence or work address of the voter. The address has to do with the house number, the house street, the ward, the local government road, and the state. Take for an instance, 35 Aladelola Street off Ikosi, Ketu, Lagos State. Another information is gender. Gender has to do with the sex of the voter, whether it's a male or a female, or either a woman or a man. And the date of registration is also important. This is the actual day that the voter came to register. It is also put into consideration. And the name of the ward, the center at which the voter registers, is also part of the information that is on the registration card. So those are the required information needed for the voters registration. Let's now look at the process of voting. All the voters must be registered before you can even make attempt to vote on the election day. Once you are eligible to vote, you must register. Then a date will be fixed for the election, and the electoral officials is to be used for the election, and they must be trained as well. Those are the process of voting. Not only that, all these electoral officials will be deployed to various locations where they are going to work and conduct the election as it is expected to be. Then, not only that, necessary posters will be posted all around so that people can be enlightened and so that they can be sensitized on the process of voting. And the electoral body will make the electoral materials available at the different centers or wards. And at the every polling unit, all the officials that is working there will now declare the poll open. And every empty balled boxes will be opened so that they will be able to see it, that there is nothing inside it. And this we are talking about transparency, where they will show it to the voters, they will show it to the candidates, and to all the party agents around there, to show that there has not been a pre-voting before the actual voting. And the presiding officer will seal the box very well to avoid interference of any sort, that nobody will do any rigging of any sort in the course of being transparent. And the voters will be enlightened on voting process. Then there is what is called accreditation. This accreditation is to check the register card of the voters, whether the name they are carrying is theirs, whether the age correlates with who is holding the card, and they will accredit them to do the checking of the voters registration to ensure that the owner of the card is rightful owner of it, and they will now announce the number of the accredited voters. Note this, they will announce the number of the accredited voters. If 80 voters is announced at the point of accreditation, by the time they will conduct the voting, it must not be more than 80. That is the importance of announcement of accredited voters. Then the accredited voters can now cast their votes. Those are the process of voting. And having cast their votes, the presiding officer will empty the ballot box, they will count the results, they will announce it at the polling unit, and paste the results on the polling booths. Those are the process of voting. Let's now look at the importance of voting. Importance of voting. What happens when people vote? Number one, people vote in order to remove bad government with ease, with ease. And when people vote, democracy stand and is being promoted. That's another importance of voting. And through voting, majority rule to remove bad government or government that is not delivering or functioning. And this is where the public opinion is being made known very well. And through voting, the representatives are put into the power and the position of authority to rule. As well, voting forced those that they don't want to deliver because they know that, excuse me, because they know that they will eventually be voted out if they did not deliver as they should. And voting enable people to enlighten them on their civic rights and the responsibilities. When people are being enlightened, they know their rights and responsibilities. Voting as well empower the electorate to choose their leaders into different political offices. And when this is done, we have our elected officials in power. Voting as well can be used to mark the performance of the choice candidates. Because if you are not delivered in the first instance, you will not be voted in the second instance. And if you have not been having good representation, even if you are coming in for the first time, people will not vote you in. So you can use it as a yardstick to mark performance. Let's look at the democratic processes or the condition of democracy that we are talking about. Number one, we have campaigning exercise, the democratic processes. You just don't force people, you put them through, you educate them, you enlighten them on the political parties, on their agenda, or on their manifestos as well. They are well enlightened. Not only that, they are well enlightened. Another democratic process is that there is free and fair electioneering. There is free and fair electioneering. That means no rigging, no riots, no chaos, no undue interference of any sort, no harassment, no intimidation. People carry out their votes, their voting, and they do it in a transparent way, in an orderly way. So it is another democratic process. Another democratic process has to do with enlightenment. Enlightenment. And some voters' votes can be null and void. That is, they can be cancelled if they did not vote right. And that's why they need to be taught on how to vote, how to thumbprint, where to thumbprint, how to identify the logo and everything that they're supposed to do. And another one is supremacy of the Constitution. Constitution is the highest rule, is the highest rules and regulation. So it is in the democracy that this is being displayed. No rule is above, is above democracy. I mean, no rule is above constitution, and that is why we say supremacy of the constitution. It is only demonstrated in the democratic processes. Then opposition is allowed in democratic processes. That's why we have so many alternatives to work with. We have so many candidates that they want to demonstrate, they want to bring out their own agenda. It is allowed once it is being made healthy, and that's what makes people to tolerate one another from different groups, and the people of different opinions is a part of democratic processes. And there is transparency in democratic processes because election in the first instance cannot be free and fair if there is no transparency. And tolerance, this is bearing of one another's view, ability to take caution, to listen, to bear other people's view, irrespective of political differences. And we have another political difference such as qualification. In Nigeria, candidates contesting for leadership posts like president must have at least secondary school education, which is why qualification. Meanwhile, without your qualification, you cannot be into the office that you are expected to be. We have another democratic process, which is independence of judiciary. Independence of judiciary. Don't forget the hands of government includes the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. And the legislative are the presidents that they can command the judge to rule in their favor. But the democratic process has to do with independence of judiciary, whereby rules or judgment is being pronounced without the favoritism of the executive. So independence of judiciary is very, very key. Then good governance as well is another democratic processes. When a leader have been good, delivered their manifestos, they will definitely be voted back in to develop the country. Then there's what we call willingness. That's rule over selfishness. In democratic processes, willingness is when the people they are willing to serve. They are not just going there for their own selfish interest. And those are the processes of the democratic processes. We have come to the end of today's lesson, but before we go, let's go to the let's have the recap of what we did initially. We treated democracy, and we said democracy can be the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And not only that, we said that when the government, when the people they are ready to choose their government, then they are definitely they are into democracy. So all these ones they are part of the democratic process. And welcome back. What we are saying is that the people have to choose whether that they want to be in power. And there is another person called a voter, which is considered to be a registered and eligible person that is qualified to vote. And voting is the act of putting people into the post of leadership. Voters registration is usually handled by the INEC, and what the information they gathered includes the name of the voter, the date of birth of the voter, the address of the occupation of the voter, the address of the voter, the gender of the voter, the date of registration, and so on and so forth. Then the process of voting includes an eligible voter must register, the date must be fixed, then the electoral officials will be used to serve, and the electoral officials will be deployed to various locations. Not only that, the name of the ward of the centers will be registered, and the necessary posters will be posted by the Electoral Commission to sensitize the people. All the necessary electoral materials will be distributed, and every polling booth proceeding officer will declare the election open, and they will empty the ballot box to ensure that there is transparency. Then they would seal it so that to avoid interference, and the voters will enlighten the voting. The voters will be enlightened for the voting process, and accreditations will be done. Then people can now cast their votes when the accreditation has been done fully. And the presiding officer will count the ballots, will count the ballot papers, will announce the voting results, and will paste it at the polling booth. Then the importance of voting. Bad government is being removed. People vote at will, and through voting majority rule. Then through voting the representative are put in power. Through voting the people respond. Then the government's response to people's bid through voting. Then, because they know they can be voted out at any point in time, and through voting, people are enlightened on their civic rights and responsibilities as well. Through voting, it empowers the electorate to choose their leaders into different political offices. Then, voting can be used to map the performance of the choice candidates. And the democratic process includes campaigning, exercise, free and fair electioneering, enlightenment, then supremacy of constitution, no law or rule is above the constitution, opposition is allowed, transparency is the key and order of the day, tolerance is also needed, which is the bearing of one another's view, irrespective of their differences, qualification, you must be qualified before you can be allowed to contest. Then independence of judiciary so that they can make right calls and right judgments, good governance, willingness. Hope you understood what you have been taught today. The lesson have been uploaded on the website. Please copy it and prepare for your exam. I wish you best of luck. Stay blessed and stay safe.